Okay, Dusty is asking, I'll get back to Catherine in a minute. Dusty is asking, when do I start teaching a horse to respond to leg use? So as soon as I am on a horse and that horse is walking forward, I start applying leg, usually the very first ride. And what I'm wanting to accomplish that very first ride is we're working on steering. So let's go forward, hammer. He's thinking parked. So that very first ride, let's say I'm on a green horse and I'm riding two-handed, and I just got on and I'm walking my circles. You know, I always walk circles when I get on, and I've got a green horse. The very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start taking this left leg and pushing the shoulders out, leg yield over, and then go forward again. I might only get a step, shoulders out, and then back forward again. From the very first ride that the horse is not trying to buck me off, I start with leg cues. What that does, I used to not start it so early, but what I have learned when we're riding green horses, we have a tendency to ride with our hands out and kind of lead a little bit more. Well, when you lead this way, you're actually putting the horse on his shoulder. You're actually putting him on his front end. Where if I do a little bit less leading this way, a little bit less plow reining, and just tip the nose a little bit and add a little bit of leg contact, I end up with a horse that's framing his body better. I get some horses in to ride that's had 30 days and they're really, really heavy on their front end. Whoa. I had a paint a while back. I can't remember her name. She was very, very heavy on her front end. And they had started, and that's pretty much all they did was lead her over here and lead her over there and made her very heavy in the front end. And in some horses I get that's had 30 days, they've had their body lifted a little bit more with leg cues a little bit sooner, and they're actually ready to go on and do a little bit more a little bit earlier. Back to what Catherine was talking about with the turning on the haunches and a pivot. Um, I don't really think of them as that much different. Um, a pivot and a turn on the haunches, I'm going to pivot on the back end or I'm going to turn on the haunches. So if I ask the horse to turn, horsemanship pivot on the haunches is going to be fairly slow. A showmanship pivot on the haunches is going to be fairly slow. And what I have noticed when you work a pivot, the horse tends to be a little bit more strung out, and you have a harder time getting the horse to turn with a little more effort. So I always ask the horse to get round and do more of a turn on the haunches than a pivot to actually get the back up and get a little bit more momentum in the shoulders. I don't really think of them as two different cues. I'm going to do, when I go to show my horse, I'm going to show the horse to the best of my horse's ability. And if I go and do a ranch riding pattern and I'd come to a stop and then ask for a pivot 180 degrees, I'm going to show that pivot exactly the same way as if I stop and it calls for 1.5 spins facing the other way. I'm gonna show it the exact way. I'm gonna ask for the same maneuver. Okay, so the horse is green and the horse is speeding up when you put leg on. That's very common. But what I'll do, I will put leg on the horse, and let's just say, for instance, I'm going to put left leg and ask for the leg yield, and I put left leg here, and the horse is speeding up going forward. I'm not going to release that cue until that horse slows down and gives me the leg yield, and then I'm going to release and go forward. The really important point to take away is you're not going to release the cue until you get the maneuver you want. If you release, I see a lot of people, they will put leg on. I'll come around where you can see my left leg a little better. They will put leg on, the horse sped up, and they release the leg, slow the horse down, and then put leg on again. Well, you released when the horse sped up, so the horse thinks he's supposed to speed up. The big takeaway is put leg on and don't release it till you get the reaction, the action that you want. That's like when I'm first teaching one to move their haunches move their back end from a standstill. I'm going to put that cue on, and he's probably going to move his front end. He's going to move sideways. He's going to move his head. Might turn around and look at my foot. But no matter what he does, I'm not going to release that until I get the hips to move over. When the hips move over, I'm going to release. And one of the things, and this kind of varies horse by horse, I want to release when just the hips move. So let's say the horse side passes over. Well, he moved the hips, but he also moved the shoulders. I'm going to try not to release that cue until I get just hips. Now, let's say I have had my leg on for 10, 15 seconds, and I'm still not getting just the hip. I'm getting the shoulder. I'm getting the whole horse. What I'll do at that point is I'll try to help him with my rein or my leg on the other side and say, push this shoulder back. I don't want that. Move the shoulder over. Just move the hip. And when you're very first starting all those cues, keep it simple, keep it slow, keep it quiet. The more reactive the horse is, the quieter you need to be with your legs. And ask for something, hold it, and don't release it until you get the response that you want. You can teach a horse to do anything.